Cheese is one of the most trusted foods in Britain. It sits in nearly every fridge, every lunchbox, every family kitchen. But what if the cheese you are buying is not really cheese at all? Today we expose the 9 worst cheese brands sold in UK supermarkets. Products so heavily processed, so loaded with emulsifiers, stabilisers, and industrial additives that calling them cheese feels like a lie. Some contain more palm oil than dairy. Others are engineered from reconstituted proteins and powders that no traditional cheesemaker would recognise. And our number one offender is a children's snack so problematic that advertising regulators had to step in. Number 9. Tesco cheese singles, the budget slice millions of British shoppers throw into the trolley without a second thought. Tesco positions these as an affordable family staple. Simple, familiar, cheap, but flip the packet over and the reality is far less wholesome. The ingredient list reveals palm oil, modified potato starch, emulsifying salts including sodium polyphosphate and tricalcium phosphate, artificial colours from beta-carotene and paprika extract, and acidity regulators. This is not cheese in the traditional sense. It is an industrial formulation engineered to look like cheese, melt like cheese, and sit on a shelf far longer than any real dairy product ever could. What many consumers do not realise is that products like these are often described as cheesy slices rather than cheese slices, because they contain some cheese, but also plenty of colours and additives. And remarkably, many of these processed cheese singles sold under different brand names are produced by the same manufacturer, Kerry Group in Northern Ireland, sitting side by side on supermarket shelves, delivering what may be no more than the illusion of choice. The Tesco branded version contains 60% cheese, alongside palm oil, water, milk proteins, and multiple emulsifying salts. But look at the budget Creamfields range also sold at Tesco, and the numbers plummet. Some Creamfields cheese singles contain as little as 11% actual cheese, with reconstituted whey powder listed as the first ingredient. You are paying for cheese and receiving mostly dairy byproducts held together with starch and stabilisers. This is the quiet deception of modern supermarket cheese. It looks like a slice, it melts like a slice, but what you are actually eating is closer to a chemistry experiment than anything from a dairy farm. And that is only the beginning. Number 8. Dairy slices, the childhood lunchbox favourite that is anything but innocent. For decades, Dairy has been marketed directly at British families. Bright packaging, friendly slogans, adverts showing happy children unwrapping slices for their sandwiches. The brand even uses the tagline, "Slice, slice, baby," to make it sound fun and harmless. But look at the actual formulation, and a very different picture emerges. The first ingredient listed is not cheese. It is skimmed milk made from water and skimmed milk powder. Cheese appears second, but the percentage is never clearly stated on the front of the pack. Then come the additives: milk protein, milk fat, inulin, modified starch, and a cocktail of emulsifying salts including sodium phosphates, triphosphates, polyphosphates, and sodium citrates. Think about that for a moment. A product sold to parents as a wholesome cheese option for their children contains at least 4 different types of emulsifying salts. These are industrial compounds used to bind fats and proteins together to force a smooth texture that would never occur naturally in real cheese. Nutritional databases classified dairy slices as ultra-processed food, noting that high consumption of such products is associated with increased risk of obesity, hypertension, and diabetes. Yet the marketing continues to frame this as a calcium source for growing kids. Dairy has been bringing families cheese spread since the 1950s, the company proudly states. But the product your grandparents ate bears little resemblance to today's version. What was once simple dairy has become an engineered formula designed for long shelf life, easy spreadability, and maximum profit. If this is what we are feeding our children, we need to ask what else the food industry is hiding behind friendly packaging. Number 7. Kraft Singles UK, the slice that legally cannot be called cheese. Kraft Singles is one of the most recognised names in processed cheese worldwide. The bright orange slices have become synonymous with burgers, sandwiches, and quick melts. But here is the uncomfortable truth that Kraft would rather you did not know. Kraft Singles do not qualify for the pasteurized processed cheese labeling because the percentage of milk fat in the product that comes from added dairy ingredients is greater than 5%. In 2002, the FDA gave Kraft a warning stating they could no longer legally use the label pasteurized processed cheese food due to a formulation change that replaced some of the non-fat milk with milk protein concentrate, which is not a permitted additive. The UK version contains just 47% cheese made from cow's milk, alongside non-fat milk solids, emulsifiers E331 and E339, mineral salt E341, casein, preservatives E202, acidity regulator E270, and added water. Kraft is not permitted to refer to singles as cheese, because this word indicates that a product is made with at least 51% real cheese. The full ingredient list runs to 17 different components, including whey, milk protein concentrate, sodium phosphate, sorbic acid, and paprika extract for that signature yellow colour. Kraft Singles is a processed amalgamation of pasteurised milk byproducts rather than traditional cheese. Real cheese requires milk, rennet, and salt. That is it. But Kraft Singles needs an entire laboratory of additives to achieve something that merely resembles cheese. And yet families across Britain continue to buy it, unaware that the product in their fridge does not even meet the legal definition of what they think they are eating. But the deception runs even deeper with the next brand on our list. Number 6. Cathedral City Spreadable. The trusted name hiding behind a wall of stabilisers. Cathedral City is one of the most respected cheese brands in Britain. The block cheddar is made in Cornwall with British milk and has even held a royal warrant. So when consumers see the Cathedral City name on a spreadable tub, they assume they are getting the same quality in a convenient format. They are not. Cathedral City Mature Spreadable contains just 56% cheddar cheese, of which only 51% is mature cheddar. The rest of the tub is filled with skimmed milk, yogurt, and a collection of additives that no traditional cheesemaker would recognise. The ingredient list includes stabiliser in the form of pectin, plus emulsifying salts such as sodium citrates, potassium phosphates, and polyphosphates. Nearly half of what you are spreading on your toast is not cheese at all. It is milk, yogurt, and chemical stabilisers designed to create a soft, spreadable texture that real cheese simply cannot achieve without industrial intervention. The brand trades heavily on its heritage and reputation. The name Cathedral City dominates the packaging, but the product inside has been diluted, extended, and engineered to maximise margins while minimising actual cheese content. Cathedral City cheddar blocks are made with just British milk, starter culture, microbial enzyme, and salt. 4 ingredients. Compare that to the spreadable version with its laundry list of stabilisers and emulsifiers, and you begin to see how far the industry has drifted from honest food. And if you think that is concerning, wait until you hear what happened with number 5. Number 5, Primula cheese tubes. The squeezable snack with a potentially deadly secret. Primula has been a British kitchen staple for nearly a century. The iconic squeezable tubes were marketed as a fun, convenient way to add cheese to crackers, sandwiches, and Jackett's potatoes. But in 2020, the entire product range was pulled from shelves in one of the most alarming food safety recalls in recent memory. Primula Limited recalled all Primula cheese tubes, both chilled and ambient, because the product might be contaminated with Clostridium botulinum due to a production fault. Clostridium botulinum produces one of the most dangerous toxins known to science. Botulinum toxin may cause a serious form of food poisoning called botulism and can be fatal. The recall affected 10 varieties after one product was found to contain Clostridium botulinum during routine testing. But here is the truly disturbing part. Manufacturing controls that could potentially affect the safety of the products could not be demonstrated satisfactorily by the company. In other words, Primula could not prove their own production processes were safe. The brand stopped all product distribution and instructed retailers to remove tubes from shelves with immediate effect. Customers were told not to eat any Primula cheese tubes they had already purchased. The Food Standards Agency issued an urgent warning. And what exactly is in these tubes? Cheese at 54%, reconstituted skimmed milk powder, water, whey powder, emulsifying salts including sodium phosphate, polyphosphates, and triphosphates, plus modified maize starch. Another ultra-processed formulation dressed up as simple cheese. The product was so widely used that even the Veterinary Poisons Information Service issued guidance, noting that many dog owners use these cheese spreads as training aids. A product fed to children and pets alike, recalled nationwide over fears it could cause fatal poisoning. And yet Primula tubes are back on shelves today. The scandal largely forgotten, but the worst offenders are still to come. Number 4, Happy Shopper Processed Cheese, the budget slice that reveals the true flaw of the industry. Happy Shopper is a symbol brand found in independent convenience stores and corner shops across Britain. The processed cheese slices sit at the very bottom of the price ladder, marketed to customers who want cheese on a tight budget. But when you are paying this little, you need to ask what you are actually getting. The reality is that these budget processed cheese slices are often described as cheesy slices rather than cheese slices because they contain some cheese, but also plenty of colours and additives. The typical formulation includes palm oil, water, whey powder, modified potato starch, milk proteins, emulsifying salts, calcium phosphate, salt, and added colour from beta-carotene and paprika extract. Processed cheese typically contains around 50 to 60% cheese and 40 to 50% other ingredients. But at the budget end, those ratios can shift even further away from real dairy. The lower the price, the more the manufacturer relies on fillers, flavourings, and texture modifiers to create something that merely resembles cheese. Processed cheese was developed with the goal of being meltable without the fat separating from the protein. To achieve this, manufacturers add calcium sequestering agents that break apart the natural structure of cheese. The result is a product engineered for industrial convenience rather than nutritional value. What you are buying is not cheese in any traditional sense. It is a blend of dairy byproducts, vegetable oils, and chemical emulsifiers held together by modified starches and coloured to look appetizing. The word cheese on the label is doing a lot of heavy lifting, and that deception only intensifies as we move up the list. Number 3. Laughing cow triangles. The smooth, creamy snack hiding a laboratory of additives. The Laughing cow has been a fixture in British fridges since the 1920s. Those foil-wrapped triangles with the cheerful red cow are marketed as a fun, convenient snack for the whole family. But peel back the wrapper and the reality is far less wholesome than the branding suggests. The original triangles contain rehydrated skimmed milk, cheese, butter, milk protein, emulsifying salt in the form of polyphosphate, calcium sulfate acid, orthophosphoric, milk mineral concentrate and lactic concentrate. That smooth, spreadable texture does not come from traditional cheesemaking. It comes from industrial processing. The Laughing Cow cheese is made by mixing milk powder, which is blended with water to bring it back to milk, with cheeses and butter, along with emulsifying salts. The emulsifying salts play the same role as the citrate in fondue savoyard, stopping the components from separating. In other words, this is not cheese that has been aged and matured. It is reconstituted dairy held together by chemical intervention. The lightest version goes even further, containing skimmed milk powder, cheeses, maltodextrin, milk proteins, emulsifying salts including polyphosphates, tricalcium phosphate, and citric acid, natural flavouring, and thickener in the form of carrageenan. Maltodextrin is a highly processed carbohydrate typically derived from cornstarch. Carrageenan is a seaweed extract used as a gelling agent. Nutritional databases classify Laughing Cow products as ultra-processed food, noting that high consumption of such products is associated with increased risk of obesity, hypertension, and diabetes. Yet the marketing continues to position this as a wholesome family snack. The gap between image and reality could not be wider. Number 2. Lidl Milboner processed cheese slices. The discount slice exposing the illusion of choice. Lidl's Milboner range has become a go-to option for budget-conscious shoppers looking for cheese that will not break the bank. The processed cheese slices are stacked high and priced low, but what exactly are you paying for? Lidl's Milboner Cheesy singles are produced in Northern Ireland at Kerry Coleraine, the same facility that makes Easy singles, Calvita singles, Galty singles, and own brand products for Aldi and Tesco. They sit side by side on supermarket shelves, delivering what may be no more than the illusion of choice. Milboner lists the percentage of palm oil at 17%, along with 60% cheese, water, whey powder, modified potato starch, milk proteins, emulsifying salts E452 and E339, calcium phosphate, salt, and added colour from beta-carotene and paprika extract. Nearly 1/5 of the slice is vegetable oil rather than dairy. The palm oil used is not from sustainable sources, so not only is the product heavily processed, but its production contributes to environmental destruction. Whey, once considered a waste product from hard cheese production, is now a key source of revenue for ingredients companies. What was once discarded is now repackaged and sold back to consumers as part of a cheese product. The packaging describes the product as processed cheese slices made from a blend of cheese, vegetable oil, and milk solids, which sounds far less appetizing than the bright yellow slice in the packet. Different brands, different prices, same industrial formula. And yet the worst offender is still to come. Number 1. Cheese strings, the children's snack that embodies everything wrong with processed cheese. The children's snack that embodies everything wrong with processed cheese. Cheese strings is the most heavily marketed cheese product aimed at British children. The pull strings, the cartoon mascots, the brightly coloured packaging, Over 300 million cheese strings are sold each year and bought by 3.8 million UK households. The brand accounts for 31% of the children's cheese snacks market. It is by any measure a phenomenon, but here is what most parents do not realise. Cheese strings is officially classified as a HFSS product, meaning it is high in fat, salt or sugar. This classification triggered a ruling by the Advertising Standards Authority in 2024. The ASA ruled that a cheese strings advertisement featuring Garfield and a prize promotion breached the advertising code because it was targeted through its content directly at preschool or primary school children. The product is described as medium-fat hard cheese with added acidity, regulators including citric acid and lactic acid, paprika for colouring, and added vitamins B6, B12, and D. Cheese strings is classified as an unripened cheese, meaning it has not undergone the natural aging process that gives traditional cheese its flavour and nutritional profile. Kerry Foods launched a major advertising campaign to emphasise that cheese strings is made from real cheese, admitting that parents were still questioning the amount of additives contained in the product. The brand redesigned its packaging to make the product seem less artificial, featuring a softer logo and toned-down mascot. But the fundamental problem remains. This is a heavily processed, HFSS classified product being marketed directly at the youngest consumers through cartoon characters, prize promotions, and fun messaging. Processed cheese, which encompasses products like cheese strings, Primula tubes, and Dairyly, accounts for a 10.1% share of the total UK cheese market, with consumers spending more than £240 million on the category. £250 million spent on products that barely qualify as cheese, products fed to millions of children every single day. This is not just one bad brand. This is an entire industry built on deception.